Greetings again from the offices of Zerga Corporation. Is this about bounties or something else? I see that, but do you have the all-important chieftains, Gaffy? That was what you agreed to get for us. Well, that is a very big headache that you've removed. I'm sure there are still sand people out there, but they'll be quieter now. I think I'll give you a bonus for this. You've more than lived up to your side of the bargain. Zerga Corporation thanks you. I'm sure. Zerga Corporation thanks you again.
Ki mulira kun kin. Kakin cha nawabakaon.
Ah, just the person I was hoping to see.
Save it, Griff. I'm not talking to you. I want no part of whatever you're involved in.
Okay, sis, I see you're still mad. Fair enough. I don't think you could help me with this anyway. It's, more of a job for your friend here. As you may know, tack glands can be refined to a very potent powder. It's the primary ingredient in Teresian ale. That's what makes it so strong. Of course, now that Taris is pretty much wiped from the face of the map, Teresian ale has become somewhat scarce and, very, very valuable. Luckily, I know the secret recipe. I know this guy. He's with the Exchange. Now, if I give him a small sample of Teresian ale, he says he can synthesize it and reproduce it in mass quantities. Problem is, I need one of those tack glands to make the first batch, and now that Taris is a smoking ruin, the only place to find tack is on Kashyyyk. If you can get your hands on one of those tack glands, I'll make it worth your while.
Griff, are you blind? Can't you see you're talking to a Jedi? We're out here trying to save the galaxy. We can't waste time on this.
Please, you have to help me. I promised this guy from the Exchange a sample of Teresian ale. If I don't come through for him, he's gonna break my legs. Or worse. Yeah, I knew you'd come through for me. You won't regret this. You'll see. Just don't take too long, okay? This guy from the Exchange could stop by any day. I kinda told him I already had the stuff, so if he shows up and I'm empty-handed, well, let's just say I really, really hope it doesn't come to that. You're back! I knew you'd come through for me. I knew I could count on you. You do have a tech gland for me, right? Come to Papa, you sweet simian organ. It may not look like much, but once I turn this into a bottle of Teresian ale, it'll end up being worth a fortune. Thanks, Mission. You won't regret helping me out with this.
Please, Griff, let this be the last time. No more cons, no more scams, no more schemes. That's all I ask.
Hey, sis, no need to worry about that. I've turned over a new leaf. From now on, I'm gonna stay out of trouble and do things right. And once we've cornered the market on Teresian ale, good things will be heading my way. Then I'll make it up to your Mission. Just wait, you'll see. You know, once we synthesize this and start brewing Teresian ale in mass quantities, we're gonna be looking for some investors. You give me a couple of 100 credits, and I can get you in on the ground floor. You'll get a return of, at least 20 times your investment. Hey, don't worry, you'll get your credits as soon as we start mass producing that Teresian ale. I just wanted to know if you were interested in an even bigger payoff. Wise move. I can see you really understand how business works. Now, when you see your chance, you jump at it, huh? That's my motto. I better get started on brewing that ale. Meet me back here later, and I'll have a down payment on what I owe you.
Hey there. I appreciate everything you've done for Griff. You know that, right? I just hope things work out for him this time around. I guess we'll find out when he meets up with us at the Zerga Corp shop. If he's got those credits he promised you, then maybe there's hope for him yet.
Igratuk haku chichiya. Kombe pamuko varuba kubba. Hunya rilio. Wanga chalati. Igratuk haku chichiya. Wakati manukoro izi una nokumulira. Cholakin chimma. Bolala mucha. Wanga chalati izi. Igratuk haku chichiya. Jawati man wogratong. Igratuk haku chichiya. Kombe pamuko varuba kubba. Hunya rilio. Wanga chalati. Igratuk haku chichiya. Kubba. Hunya rilio. Wakati manukoro una nokumulira. Ukumigli. Cholakin chimma. Bolala mucha. Igratuk haku chichiya. Kombe pamuko varuba kubba. Hunya rilio. Wanga chalati. Igratuk haku chichiya. Kubba. Hunya rilio. Wakati manukoro una nokumulira. Ukumigli. Cholakin chimma. Bolala mucha. Kubba. Hunya rilio. Wakati manukoro una nokumulira. Ukumigli. Cholakin chimma. Bolala mucha.
Good.
Yes?
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 I'm here.
You need?
What?
I'm tired of waiting, Comad. How big can this dragon of yours be? I'm going in.
Runda di hodonga kun hunkabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek. Ka chikun ita hodonga. Iking kuno ba mulera chikun. Mucho shak pakat. Kieno no nama paule rachikun. Ka chikun ita hodonga. Iking kuno ba mulera chikun. Jeda badawana ni di bobo. Dong na bungsha nununya. Runda di hodonga kun hunkabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek. Ka chikun ita hodonga. Iking kuno ba mulera chikun. Jeda badawana ni di bobo. Dong na bungsha nununya. Runda di hodonga kun hunkabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tongking ba nunotek. Ka chi kun ita hodonga, iking kuno ba mulera chi kun. Runda di hodonga kun hunkabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tongking ba nunotek. Ka chi kun ita hodonga, iking kuno ba mulera chi kun. Runda di hodonga kun hunkabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tongking ba nunotek. Ka chi kun ita hodonga, iking kuno ba mulera chi kun. Runda di hodonga kun hunkabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tongking ba nunotek. Ka chi kun ita hodonga, iking kuno ba mulera chi kun. Runda di hodonga kun hunkabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tongking ba nunotek. Ka chi kun ita hodonga, iking kuno ba mulera chi kun.
Jedo badawana ni di bobo. Dong na bungsha nununya.
Runda di hodonga kun hunkabi. Wana kun bez ching palamule tongking ba nunotek.
Mucho shak pakat. Kiye no namapaole rachikun.
I still got it. Now, get it.
Let's make this quick. There. What can I do?
Yes?
Achuta. Wonga kun pistol. Achuta. Wonga kun pistol. Jedo badawana ni di bobo. Dong na bungsha nununya. Tune podo. Rananu prata doko shirkasha. Nandayata. Wata yuma wama huhu nandatek. Jedo badawana ni di bobo.
Runda di hodonga kun hunkabi. Wana kunbez ching palamule tungking ba nunotek.
Muchishak pakat. Kiye no namapaule rachikun.
I'm here.
Sure.
Yes?
And you need?
Yes?
How can I help? About my mother? I'm unsure. I seem to find it difficult to remain objective when it comes to her. I find that disturbing. Do you think I should? That would just lead to another argument. How I always despised talking to her. I'll think about it. I should try and remember my training. I should be able to let go of this, but I can't. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's keep going.
Finding this star map here in this cave gives me a cold shiver. You don't think it's just coincidence that the Krayt Dragon made its home here, do you?
The star map is an artifact of the dark side. The Krayt Dragon may have been drawn here by its dark power, only to be enslaved by it. Come, we should leave this place. There's nothing else for us here. I'm here.
At last, my search is over. I was beginning to fear someone else had killed you and deprived me of the pleasure you may have defeated the pathetic bounty hunter my master sent after you. But you are no match for me. I have studied at the foot of the Dark Lord himself. Your words mean nothing to me, unless you wish to beg for your life. No? Then I shall try to make this both quick and painful.
Sure.
Never too old for this!
I'm here.
What?
What can I do?
3. What do you wish to ask of him, Master? Protocol. This will... Translation. Translation. You have been... Translation. 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 He is stupefied, Master. He never thought you could return with such an item. Such a thing has not been done in many years. Translation. He will allow you to meet the storyteller, but also gives a warning. If you dare to repeat the histories incorrectly, you will be killed. Translation. The storyteller will be summoned to one of the rooms here in the Enclave. He seems to think this is a great honor for you, Master. Translation. Translation. We are free to leave. Translation. He identifies himself as the storyteller, Master. He has been told of your warrior skills and will speak the history to you. Translation. Translation. There is only one accepted history, passed orally to each successive generation. Translation. A book or datapad can be taken away, cheapening the value of what it contains. To commit it to paper or storage is to remove it from the people. Translation. Translation. You may choose to hear the history, or you may choose not to. Their history is a single entity that cannot be partitioned. Translation. The only exception is in continuing the tales once they have begun. If you leave, when you return, he will continue from where he left off. Translation. Translation. He says that you dare not question the accuracy of his information. The stories are learned perfectly by each successive storyteller. Translation. In fact, they aren't allowed to speak the stories aloud unless they are exact. Any error is considered a blasphemy punishable by death. Criticism. It seems inefficient to me, Master. A score of apprentice storytellers would be slaughtered each generation. What if the elder died before completing the teachings? Translation. Translation. Apprentices are trained from birth. Very few speak the words in error. Storytellers are most often lost in battle between tribes. Translation. Any tribe that loses its storyteller is obviously unworthy of existing. They lose their connection to history and destroy themselves with infighting soon after. Translation. Translation. It begins with the ancient times. They were not sand people, for there was no sand. The land was green with life, and they walked without wrappings. Translation. Though the land was beautiful, they lived apart from the land. They built their walls high and saw beyond the horizon. They dared to reach the stars. Translation. There are no words for how long ago this was. It was before the outsiders, before the abduction, before the cities fell, before the builders. Cautionary. I should warn you, Master, that any questioning of their interpretation may be seen as trying to change the meaning of what was said. Clarification. They may consider this to be speaking the words in error, a blasphemy they would attempt to kill you for. Obedient. I will ask whatever you wish, Master. Translation. Translation. His arrogant people touched the stars, and this sin drew the attention of the builders. The builders did not touch the stars, they lashed them to millstones. Translation. Great demons of metal stripped the world of its riches, until all that was left was the green of the ground. The great cities were lifted away. Translation. Those that had used the wealth were taken along with it. Transgressors abducted to serve past the sky, seeding the stars with penitent, adaptable slaves. Translation. Translation. There came a time when the builders were also judged for their crimes. After generations, a plague weakened them, and the time of the Great War began. Translation. The builders faltered, and his people realized why they had been punished, so that they understood the crime, and would now strike down the greater offender. Translation. They worked chaos in the machines, so they destroyed themselves. The builders fought back, laying waste to the green that had been misused with fire from above. Translation. Soil became glass, grinding to sand, but the fight was long planned, and his people were safe. Deep in cave homes carved from valley wall, they were free. Translation. Editing, if I may, Master. This section of his tale details several millennia of the Long Walk, their nomadic wanderings as they accept their identity in a desert world. Rather than strain my circuits on his dialect, might we just assume there was much fighting over who has the biggest bantha and move on to more recent things? Resignation. Very well, Master. Translation. The tribes spread far, distant from each other, but all as sand people, and all cherished the land that remained. The sand would not be misused. Translation. Then machines fell from the stars again, outsiders like you that brazenly walked apart from the land. And greater still was the insult to come. Translation. These outsiders reminded them of their past transgression, of the time when they too walked apart from land. The outsiders, your kind, looked like their ancient abducted. Translation. So it is to the current sons that the Sand People hate all outsiders and give them no footing. You come again, time after time, adaptable slaves to the machine. Editing. The last 1,000 years are full of conflicts with different groups of attempted planetary settlers, all of whom are poorly described, long dead, and likely untraceable. I believe I have truncated it down to the usable bits in what was already said. I hope it is enough, Master. Translation. Translation. We are free to leave.